And I want to start here on Money in Motion. Now, we started this last month. We got a lot of people saying they really liked it. Not all the people watching the show, but we're doing some marketing. We got people kind of around the world watching the short versions of this. I want to congratulate Dr. J. Finland is the correct answer. Did you get the mileage on that? I thought it was 692 miles, Doc. Type it in there. You can Google it while I'm finishing the show here. But so Money in Motion. All right. Money in Motion. This is what it looks like. All right. And I'm calling it MIM for short. I'm basically trying to democratize the knowledge of me to you or people that you know that maybe, you know a lot of this stuff because you've been watching me for 5.5 years. Tell them, watch the show and let's get your money moving. So it offers wisdom for these three key financial areas of your life. Your money is always in motion. Never think that it's just sitting there in an account. You're always either earning money or saving money or spending money. Well, what about when I sleep? It still costs electricity for your electric blanket, okay? Or for the electricity in the house or whatever. So money is always in motion in your life. What can we do to improve that? So this has just occurred to me. People are telling me, they're saying, I retired, I'm a client, I watch your statements, but I'm getting kind of bored. What could I do as a side hustle? Well, the rise of AI tools is making it easier than ever to earn extra money. So freelance writing, coding, if you're a programmer, design to virtual assistant roles. So sorry about this. I'm hitting wrong buttons, guys. There is a big need right now for people to do phone support. You can do that from home. I've talked to a number of folks, even working for large brokerage firms. It's like, are you new at this? Well, yeah, I am. And I'm just, supposed to be screening calls. I'm not a trained broker, but, I work 3 days a week. And so there are opportunities out there. And the best way to find those is to look in AI, believe it or not, and just say, hey, I live here. I'm looking for this kind of gig. How can I make this happen? So digital product creation is another one. Selling digital products remains a top way to generate passive income. And again, if not for you, somebody you know, or a child or a grandchild, all right, affiliate marketing, content creation. I mean, I know there are people that are putting together PowerPoints. They're outsourcing to somebody who doesn't have time to do it. They put up, in a PowerPoint presentation, send it back in a zip file and make $200 or whatever. So all kinds of opportunities, AI and personal finance. So people are creating apps all the time. This is particularly interesting. And then they need people to test it. Hey, we'll pay you $250, download this app and answer this 1-hour questionnaire on what you found, what you like, what you didn't like. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're basically creating their own in-house Nielsen company for product development. Makes a lot of sense. Gen Z and millennials are driving the spending and income growth through both traditional employment and flexible tech-enabled side hustles. You will see more, not less of this going forward. I think it's an exciting change in the employment demographic of America. All right. Saving is second. All right. If you have money sitting in a checking account, you just simply can't do that anymore. Okay. There are companies out there, banks out there, and some of them are credit unions where you can get a 5% APY. All right. Annual percentage rate for a year over 13 times the national average. You can find it. And remember, there is a $250,000 limit on your money now. So unless you're putting in 500,000, and if you are, you probably should be investing some of that, but I digress. You're insured up to 250, so don't worry about the bank that you might not know if they're online. Go for the rate and lock it in, because if you're using this for an emergency fund, it's really helpful to do that. All right, really helpful to do that. So pay down high interest debt, automating debt payments and prioritizing high interest balances can free up cash for future savings. That's really the key here, is freeing up cash for savings. So all these three work together. You earn money, you save money, and then you spend money. If you're spending less, that frees up more to save. All right. And then once you see your savings grow, that inspires you to, yeah, maybe I will take that second side hustle and try to improve my financial situation there. So makes sense to me, I think. So All right, smart utility management. We have to do this here in the Brown household because we run our air conditioner. I'm a native Floridian and I still get warm in the summer, but there are ways to just turn up the fans, save 15% or more on utility bills. And what's especially cool now is, at least here in Chicago, the utility companies will send you an alert. You're using more this week than you did last week. Have you got a extra condenser running on your air conditioning? Just things to be aware of. Okay. It's just money that you can save that you'll never get back. It's like unnecessarily idling the car. With gas, it's not so bad at $3 a gallon, not so good at $5 a gallon. All right. So spending, consumer splurges and trade downs. So this is pretty important, right? Think about this. And this isn't on the list. And I've mentioned this once before. What am I probably correct? I was thinking 800 miles. Well, I bet Doc's going to find that number, but that border for Finland is pretty astounding. No wonder they wanted to be a member of NATO, right? So people splurge. They want to enjoy life. They work hard for their money, and I get that. But one of the things that you can do is say, you know what, if I'm going to spend this much over a budget, first of all, you need to have a budget, some semblance of a budget, so you know if you're spending over and beyond your means. And again, if you guys, everybody listening to this call has that under control, then you know somebody in your life, either a friend that you would have to be very ginger with expressing this to them, or a child or grandchild where you could be more assertive and say, you know what, maybe if you didn't spend money here, you could have a travel or an experience where you go and do something fun. All right. So value-driven shopping, people seeking deals, waiting for sales. Alice is great about this. Alice clips coupons still. She's always we've been needing to buy new luggage for about 4 months. No, I'm waiting for it to go on sale. It goes on sale for 5%, but I've seen them for 20%. It's like, okay, we'll wait. It's not like our luggage is falling apart. So, and that's just money saved. But the best thing to do, rather than just save it, now we'll spend it on something else, is say, you know what, let's go straight to the savings account with that. All right. These three relationships with money all work in tandem. And it's important that you understand that you earn and you then save. And finally, you spend. The less you spend, the more you can save. The more you save, the more you have an incentive to earn because you see your net worth growing. The more you then have an incentive to save even more. And the incentive you have to spend less because you're just enjoying having closer and closer relationship with financial freedom. We're going to talk more about this as Money in Motion continues to evolve. So wellness and sleep products, this is really important. The number one thing you can do for your health is get good sleep. And definitely my life has improved since I've insisted on 7. I'd love to get 8. It never happens, but 7 hours a night. And invest in your sleep, folks, and take it seriously. Overall, consumer spending is expected to rise 2.3% year over year, with discretionary spending intentions ticking up for the first time. This is good. We need consumers spending. So don't think that I don't want spending by consumers, but I don't want you spending beyond your means, and I don't want you just idly watching by while your loved ones spend beyond their means. It's not good for them. It's just not. So take my advice on that, okay? All right, get my mouse going here and let's go back to the show. See the first two components that I mentioned. If you want to spend more, you need to earn and save more, and they go together. That first 10% of what you make, and I would say when you're young, you ought to start with 15 and just get used to it and set it aside, saving. And once you reach enough of an emergency fund for 3 months of living, then invest it in the market. It's just that simple. That is how all of this works. We had a listener ask last week when we sent our survey out. We'll be sending surveys out this Monday. So we send surveys out the Monday after the show. This Monday, we're actually going to be announcing that we're doing our second quarter client review. So if you're a client, you'll get an email from us, and it'll be a private podcast where you can see the performance. We did this last month for May. We're now going to be on a quarterly schedule where you'll see in July, and then again in October, and then again in January, the quarterly performance in detail with charts so that you can understand how your investments are going. So is it best to have assets in a trust? Was this viewer's question. We have designated beneficiaries on most of our 401k retirement accounts. My eye caught the attention on most. It needs to be the word all. But the only other asset would be the house, and that's defined in our will. So what should we do with this? That's a great question. First of all, I am not an attorney. It's very important that you understand that. It is my opinion that your non-qualified assets, if they exceed $1 million, you should consider a family trust. And remember, this is for liability protection. In other words, litigious actions against you, not necessarily for tax planning. So let me just look you eye to eye and say, again, I am not an attorney. There is really no need to ever put qualified assets. A qualified asset means that the IRS has an investment in your investment. If you have a non-taxable account, meaning a deferred tax account or a Roth, all right, the IRS has an interest in that because they're going to make a portion of that. If you take the money out early in a Roth, less than 5 years, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. After 5 years, it's all yours. But certainly on IRAs, SEP IRAs, 401ks, they're going to make a portion of that. And there's no reason, because those are protected by what's known as the O.J. Simpson precedent, because when he was found guilty in the case way back 30 some years ago, they went after his pension and his 401k, et cetera. And the court ruled that no, those are retirement assets. And there's no way that this lawsuit can leave him penniless. So that all the lawyers jumped on that. And that's now what's known as the O.J. Simpson precedent. So your qualified monies are safe, but our house, it's, if it's not in a trust, if you have a large account that's just a joint account, $500,000 or so, just realize that if someone were to sue you for a car accident or for any reason at all, that would be open and able to be claimed by a creditor. And that's not something that you want to happen. So anyway, it was a great question. Thank you guys for sending those in. It's important that, but I want to answer these for you.